So, from that video, I think the most important point to cover to understand Newton's third law of motion is that this is always when there's two interacting objects, two objects in contact with each other. So, this is almost in most cases, but if there's an object, say like the bird flying in the air, is interacting with air particles, so there is going to be an equal and opposite reaction or action on from the bird on the air and the air on the bird. And if I'm sitting in a chair, there's an equal and opposite force of me sitting down and the chair pushing me up so that I do not fall through the chair. So from that video, I think it's clear from a few different examples that they provided. I think the frog one was really helpful. The boat one at the end was really helpful because it ties together the second and third law. So to focus on the boat example for myself, I went to Newport Beach and I went paddleboarding with friends. An example of Newton's third law when I was paddleboarding was we were paddleboarding together, a friend and she thought it would be funny to push me, my board away from the rest of the group. So she thought she'd be pushing me out from the group, but what really happened is she pushed me. I went out, but so did she. We had an equal but opposite force. So joke's on her. We both had to paddle back to the group. Now, to tie that into second law of motion, if there were two people on one paddle and one person on another, then we have double the mass on one board and half the mass on the other. So if we were to push, the one with more mass would not accelerate as much as the one with less mass. So that is a way to understand how Newton's second and third law combine. So a good example over, not there, is here. Again, this object has far more mass than the person pushing on it, so the person is going to move. It's going to have an equal and opposite force, but the object with less mass is the one that will be accelerating. Whereas, again, this is kind of the scenario of my friend and I on our paddle boards. We both pushed off each other, having very similar masses, and we both had similar force and acceleration.